Hey, what's up? How you doing? Michael Silva here, doing an S&P 500 technical analysis update on May 28th, 2020. Today we will be discussing the S&P 500 on both the daily time frame and the 30-minute time frame. Going to keep this video short, sweet, to the point, because I do this every day. And if it's your first time watching these videos, smash that subscribe, hit that like button. It is well appreciated. Like I said, I have this series that I do every day. I have my stock watch list every single Saturday I post. And I also post quick tips every now and then. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and hop into this analysis. All right, we're here on the daily time frame. Let's go ahead and hop into what is going on. Check it out. So it looked like a pretty bullish day today. It started gapping up and started moving higher on the day and then moved itself down in the last hour or so. Now we're going to look at the dynamics in the 30-minute time frame to get an idea of where it might head tomorrow. But this right here is a bearish looking candle, but it's within bullish context. The chart has been moving upwards, so it's hard to say where it could potentially go. I mean, keep in mind the candle right here looks actually almost darn near identical to that candle, and it ended up to gap up the next day. Now here's what I see going on. We have been talking about the bears camp, and the bears camp I've been saying is basically right around this, call it 3,100 to 3,000 level right here. So we've been saying that this right there is that bears camp, and the bulls have been making more progress up into it. Now, you got to understand, this is a lot of resistance within this area. Now, if you tie it into what the market is doing fundamentally, we've just reached over 40 million Americans unemployed, filing for unemployment. That puts the jobless rate over almost 24%. And one has to think, when the economy is fully back open, are all those jobs going to come back? And the answer really is no, because you can see this here. They're starting to come back, but bankruptcies are soaring. And some of the bankruptcies that are taking place are from some big time employers. They hire a lot of employees. Now, when you mix that in with where it's at as far as resistance goes, it's going to have a hard time getting above these levels. However, on the daily, like I said, it's still in this bullish channel kind of moving up. It very well can potentially come up, a little bit higher and pull back to the next area of support, and then maybe potentially move itself higher, because it seems like the fundamentals just don't really matter at this point in time. It looks like the market is just wanting to move higher and higher. However, it's going to be a while to see this resistance broken, in my opinion. It's going to be a difficult time to see what's going to be taking place. I do see somewhat of a pullback in the near future. I don't think that it can go from here to here without pulling back. If you look back in the context of the chart, it went up, pull back up, pull back up, pull back up, pull back up, and now we might be seeing that pullback back down to, I guess if I bring up the Fibonacci retracement level, we can get a good sense as to where it might pull back to. Yeah, I would say, it could potentially pull back right here to the 61% retracement level. I would say a reversal could be taking place if it actually pulled back below that and then retested it. So keep an eye out for that. That could potentially create a head and shoulders pattern, as you see left shoulder, head, left shoulder, and then this would be obviously the neckline right there at the 50% retracement level. So that's a possibility too, but we just got to keep an eye on it. Yeah, keep an eye on the SPY. Well, this is the SPX, but it's the same thing. Let's go ahead and hop into the 30-minute time frame just to get a good glimpse as to where we see the market heading for tomorrow. All right, so here's the 30-minute time frame. Now, if you didn't watch yesterday's video, basically what I did was I wrote out that this was a support line right here. You typically look for support and resistances, okay? That's how you kind of track to see where you're taking place. And I mentioned that, hey, if the market does, because it broke through, this was that day, and then it opened here. If it came back to pull back to here, you might be able to catch a little bounce. Well, you may have done that at the end of the day, but maybe not, but it did come back down almost right exactly to this level within $1 or two, and then bounced up. That's what happens with support. It acts once resistance is broken, it then becomes support. So this level right here will be what we want to keep our eye on, because if it does break down on the 30-minute time frame and close below it, it'll then turn into resistance. The next area of support that I see is really right here in this range. That's where it acted as support back here. Then I'd say the next area of support would be right here in this range. As you can see, it acted as resistance here, support over here. And then the next one would be this window kind of closing area right in that range right here. So we'll come down and close the window. So there's a lot of support, there's a lot of support here with the bulls. And really when it comes to overhead resistance, it's like far and few between really right now. You have to scroll back far into the chart to see it. So the resistance that I see on the 30-minute time frame would really be just right here in this level. So 30.65. That would be the overhead resistance to watch out for. So if it does break above this, you can potentially see it move higher to the 3100, easily touching the 3100. Maybe not in one day, but this is the bearish camp, right? And if I scroll back into the back of the chart, gosh, there's so much overhead resistance here. So if I go like this, I'd say right there would be a lot of resistance at 30.81, yeah, up to 3100. It's never an exact science, hardly ever, but you can use a zone, like a web, that it's going to get kind of trapped up in. So this right here, this area, a lot of overhead resistance, so keep an eye on for that break. Now, I think that we'll start seeing more of a pullback still eventually, just because when you do look at the daily, how it's been going up and then down, up and then down, up and then down, but it's been making higher lows for the most part all the way through. It's been on this uptrend now for a week or 2 weeks basically without any real pullback. So when will the pullback take place? It's hard to say. But as of right now, we've been seeing the market basically gap up, and then at the very end of the day, we've been seeing these pullbacks take place, and then it gaps up again, and then it's just a very inconsistent / technically consistent in what it's been doing, but it's just confusing to say the least. So those are the levels to keep an eye on. Screenshot it, do whatever you need to do. But that's the overhead resistance to keep an eye on. It would be a good technically shorting opportunity if it did come up back up in this area. You have a stop loss right above here somewhere. And then be very aggressive if you are a short position. And if you wanted to go long, yeah, you pay close attention to these support areas, because typically what you can see is the market potentially break through it, typically retest, then it bounces back off another support, and then so forth. So it's going to take a lot of work for bears to kind of push this market down. It does seem like the market wants to head higher regardless of all the fundamentals that are taking place. That's all I have for you today on today's S&P 500 technical analysis update. See ya!